What is going on, everybody? We are back with the last big NBA slate until after All-Star break. We have a couple days left before the All-Star break, and then we're not going to have much to talk about for a little while. So hopefully we can end this week off strong. So talking about the bet tracker from yesterday. Yesterday profited $135. I ended up putting a unit on Purdue. Then I put half a unit on North Carolina. We also cashed our Fade the Public play on Instagram yesterday. So if you guys are not following me on Instagram, go follow the Insta. It's Ryan Fantasy Aces. There is a link down in the description for that as well. Would really appreciate the follow. I am doing a new series called Fade the Public. So every single day you will see me post it, or I'm not going to say every day, but a lot of days you're going to see me post a slip that has 30% or less of the money on them. And a good example would be last night the Clippers. Last night the Clippers had 88% of the money going against them. So 88% of the money was on Houston minus 8.5. And I ended up running with the Clippers yesterday. Obviously, they're half-unit bets. I'm tracking these separately from my regular bets. But if you were to throw this on our bet sheet yesterday, I would be able to add another $100 profit. But right now, Fade the Public is 1-1 on the record. Slightly negative, not minus $6. Pretty much break even if you look at it that way. But hopefully we can get that series going. Like I said, if you guys are wanting to follow that, go check out the Instagram. Links down in the description. For the month so far, we have profited $13.60 in terms of money lines. So, yeah, it's been a kind of a rough month. Seeing this number positive, I'm okay with. Had a bad day the day before yesterday, so on the 9th, which is really what brought us down. And we had that really bad day on the 4th, which is what really killed our bankroll in terms of this month. But overall, on our bet tracker, we have a 62.7% win rate and a $13,736 profit since the beginning of December. This is on money lines only, and there's 250 bets tracked. So hopefully we can continue doing this streak, because a 63% win rate on these, and a lot of them are around minus 120 to minus 150 max. Most of them. There are some that are a little bit higher than that, but that's pretty much what I'm looking at. So like I said, hopefully we have a good day. Let's go ahead and pick our winner from yesterday's video to get free VIP. And I don't know if you guys checked out the new thumbnail. Used AI to help with the thumbnail. It kind of turned out okay. I used it as a test yesterday. I don't like using AI thumbnails, but I did use it as a test yesterday just to see kind of how it would turn out, and it turned out pretty dang good. So the click-through rate was really high. I'm gonna try it again today in this video and see what it can come up with. It'll be slightly different than yesterday's, but we'll try it out. But anyways, if you guys do want a chance at free VIP, you can leave a like and a comment on this video. You can let me know what you guys think of the new thumbnail. Think if I can go back to the original and keep it consistent that way. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the Fade the Public challenge. Is it something you guys are actually interested in? Because if it's not, then I would 100% just do something else, like a free slip on Instagram or something. But I'm doing Fade the Public. Thought it was fun. Thought it was something a little bit different I haven't seen anybody do. So that's why I did that. So that's what I want the comment to be. Let me know what you think of the Fade the Public series, and let me know if it's something you guys are interested in. But if this video gets 250 likes, I'll select a random comment to win free VIP. Drop your like, leave your comment. Let's pick our winner from yesterday. So the winner from yesterday's video is going to be for Brandon Nemo, who said, "Good luck, everyone." Well, Brandon, send me a message on Discord. I will get you added for that free month of VIP. I do appreciate the good luck. I appreciate the love and support from every single one of you guys who left a comment. Appreciate the haters as well. And let's go ahead and talk about this NBA slate for today, because it is a rather large NBA slate. We got like 12 games, if not more. I don't know exactly how many games is on here. We got a lot of games going on this slate. So be wary about this slate, guys. I do want to say that a lot of times, a couple days before the All-Star break, you're going to see a lot of stars sit, especially if they're playing. So I don't know if that's going to happen, if some of these players are going to get ruled out late. So I'd recommend kind of holding your money a little bit longer than you normally would and wait until a little bit closer to game time to lock in some of these plays. If you guys do want to join our Discord, obviously the Discord's free to join. If you guys do want to get every single play that I'm personally playing, everything that's tracked, you guys can join for $10 a week or $25 a month. This price is eventually going to go up. I'm debating on going up on this. If you get locked in now, then you will not be increasing in your price will not increase as long as you're already in there. I'm not going to do that for the OG members. They'll stay the same. But anyways, you can get 20% off right now using code NBA, $25 a month if you guys do want to join. Links down in the description. But let's talk about the first game. So the first game on this slate is going to be the Magic taking on the Bucks. The Orlando is minus 400 favorites, 10.5 spread, 220.5 total. Public money is pretty much even across the board with 60% on the over on this total. When you take a look at these two teams, the Magic just played the same. They just played the Bucks in Milwaukee, and they ended up beating No, it was in Orlando. Why am I thinking it was in Milwaukee 2 days ago? It's not. Both games were in Orlando. Excuse me. But they ended up beating them by 20 points. So it was a 19-point win versus the Bucks last game. So I'm expecting Orlando to win again. When you look at this Milwaukee team, they're missing Giannis. Giannis has been all over the trade news. He doesn't want to play for the Bucks anymore. He's made it pretty clear. Talk about getting traded to the Heat potentially this summer. I've seen some things about that. I don't know what's going to happen with Giannis, but he is sitting once again. Pete Nance, questionable. Taurean Prince is also out. For Orlando, they're still missing Colin Castleton. Jet Howard is out as well, but they do have our man Franz Wagner back in the game. So that is a big pickup for this Orlando team. I think Orlando's the better team. At minus 400, obviously you can't play them. Do I think they cover a 10.5 spread? I don't know. These spreads right now are so hard to call, especially with a lot of these players sitting. So I would just wait in terms of if you're playing games like this, because you never know what's going to happen. I don't think anybody from the Magic are going to sit, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. For this game, I do think the Magic win, but if it's by 11 points or more, I don't have a bet for that. Next game is going to be the Hornets versus the Hawks. Now, this is the game I'm excited about. Charlotte's win streak come to a halt. So what I want to talk about for Charlotte is whether or not this team bounces back, or if they're like, you know what, guys, we had a good run. We won 9 games in a row, or 10 games, however many it was. Who cares if we lose anymore? And I think that they're fighting for the playoffs 100%. They want to win. I'm expecting them to come out here and bounce back. We'll see how fired up this team gets. But Charlotte's minus 186 at home. This is a pretty strong favorite. Playing against the Hawks, minus 4.5 on the spread, 233.5 total. Pretty fast-paced game. Most of the money going to be on Hornets money line, but most of the money going to be on Atlanta covering a 4.5 spread. So this is what I was looking at for the fade to public. I'm gonna be honest. There's quite a few games on here I'm looking at, but this is the one I was kind of leaning towards. Now, my rule for fade to public was 70% or more on a team. You played opposite. I'm okay with the 69%. Wink, wink. So we might go with that, but we'll see. Right now, Charlotte, obviously, coming off of a loss versus Detroit. They kept that game very close. It was in Charlotte. They played a very good game against one of the best teams in the league. You can't fault a team for losing to Detroit. If they would have won that one, then I would have been in shock. And I ended up actually playing that for fade to public because most of the money was on Detroit. So that was the first loss. But when you look at Atlanta's obviously has some trades going on. They've lost 2 straight games. They lost to Charlotte and they lost to Minnesota. The Bucks beat them by 20, or the Timberwolves, beat them by 22 points their last game. That one was in Minnesota, and that was a couple days ago. So both these teams on about 2 days rest. Hornets not traveling, obviously playing at home. The game before that, they played in Atlanta, so it wasn't much traveling then either. So I'm expecting this team to be pretty rested, ready to go. When you look at the Atlanta side of things, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, and Ricochet are all questionable, with Jonathan Kuminga, obviously their trade, who has not played yet, is still sitting. So 3 of their starters potentially sitting in this game. This game could end up ugly, and this is really where it becomes, how do you trust the game script? Who do you think is going to play? Because right now, Charlotte minus 4.5, I honestly don't dislike that line, because if either one of these 3 players gets ruled out, that line is going to go down. It's going to go up. It's going to go to like minus 5.5, minus 6.5. Who knows if more than one sits? If Jalen Johnson gets ruled out, it probably goes higher. We don't know. But if all 3 of these players are ruled in, can you get better odds for Charlotte? Can Charlotte be plus 2.5 maybe, or minus 2.5? Because that line's obviously a lot better than minus 4.5. So it really depends on how these players are. You can take a guess on what you think is going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if one or more of these players sat, because it is so close to the All-Star game. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to come get revenge on Charlotte from their loss the other day. Charlotte's missing McNeely, missing Kobe White still, so Charlotte pretty much fully healthy. I'm going to take a chance on Charlotte. I think Charlotte wins the game. I think they come back here and bounce back. 4.5 spread, I think they cover that. I'm betting on Charlotte to win by 5 points. You'll probably see me run this for the fade the public slip, but we'll see. I'm not 100% just yet, because there are a lot of games on this slate, a lot to choose from. Game number 3, Wizards versus Cavs. It's a minus 900 favorite, 17.5 spread. I'm fading this one. There's not much to talk about. You can look at the Wizards team. They're missing all their starters, or not starters, but their trades. They're missing D'Lo, missing AD, missing Trae Young. Cam Whitmore's out. They've been playing okay against some teams. Miami just beat them by 30, so getting beat by Miami and Brooklyn back to back is kind of tough. But they're going against a strong team in the Cavs. The Cavs have looked dominant as of lately. The Cavs have not been losing much at all. So give me the Cavs to win. Potentially the Wizards come out here and upset them for plus 900 if you want to put a tenth of a unit or something for a unit. might as well do it. But for me, it's just Cavs, and there's not really much betting that I'm going to be doing on that game. Next game is going to be the Nets versus the Pacers. Let's talk about those Pacers. Plus 500 or 600 underdogs yesterday, beating the Knicks in overtime. Now, they are on the road again, taking on the Nets in Brooklyn. The Nets are minus 160 favorites, 4.5 spread, 216 total. Most of the money is going to be on the Nets on everything, and the total going over 216. These two teams, neither of them powerhouses by any means. That's a big win for the Pacers, but they still, this team's they're not making the playoffs. Are they really fighting for anything? Who knows what's going to happen with this team as well. They're Ethan Thompson questionable, Obi Toppin's out, Jarris Walker questionable, Zubac still out, Tyrese and Furphy obviously all still out as well. When you look at the Knicks, missing Claxton most likely, Clowney's probable, but they're missing MPJ as well. This Nets team win 2 in a row. They just beat the Bulls and the Wizards. I don't trust them. I don't trust them not to tank. This game's ugly. I think the Pacers are a better team, even on a back-to-back. I'd probably take Indiana for plus 160, even though they're on the road. But, in terms of this game overall, I think it's just ugly, and it's not going to be – these aren't consistent teams. So, I guess they are kind of consistently bad, but they've had some upsets lately. That's a big win for yesterday. The Pacers are going to be tired, and maybe Brooklyn comes out here and beats them at home. I'm kind of on the Pacers here. I'm kind of thinking the Pacers come out here and win. Most of the money's going to be on the Nets. This could be another fade to public spot. We'll see. I probably won't touch this game, though, in terms of putting a bet on it unless it's player props. And not many players I like from this game. Siakam's probably the only one I would put money on. Next game. Bulls versus Celtics. Boston minus 580 favorites at home. 13.5 spread. Most of the money going to be on the Celtics covering the money line, and then most of the money on the Bulls covering the spread. When you look at these two teams, Celtics have been dominant lately. They've won 5 of their last 6 games. Bulls, complete opposite. They've lost 5 of their last 6. So, team's not been looking strong at all. Right now, Zach Collins is out. Josh Giddey doubtful. Trey Jones doubtful. Okoro questionable. Jalen Smith doubtful. On Boston, Sam Hauser probable. Keita is probable. And then Tanji is questionable. Or Tanji, I don't even know how you say his name, to be honest with you. But anyways, looking at this game, it's another game that's ugly. There's some ugly games on here. I'm probably not going to be putting money on this one. It is a pretty, I thought this total was higher earlier. Maybe it wasn't. 78% of the money on the over. It definitely wouldn't have come down. But anyways, I do think that Boston wins this game. The Bulls haven't looked that strong, but this isn't a game that I think is, it has blowout potential, but Chicago could come out here and beat them. Chicago could keep this game close. I wish that Josh Giddey was playing. This team's looked rough. Getting beat by 16 by the Nuggets, not a bad loss. Got beat by the Nets, which is a pretty bad loss. And then got beat by the Raptors, obviously. So, it's hard to trust the Bulls right now, but if you're a Bulls fan, then you want to take a plus 570, go for it. I'm not going to be playing on this one most likely. In terms of player props, I think that Boston has some good potential here. I think Jaylen Brown could potentially drop some big numbers tonight as long as the game stays competitive at all. If this game stays competitive at all, it could be a player prop gold mine. But right now, looking at the spread, I don't know that I could trust it to stay too competitive because this slate, guys, it's so hard to – you got to look at it a little bit differently than normal. I'm just going to say that. So next game, Knicks versus Sixers. Knicks on a back-to-back in Philly versus the Sixers. Sixers are minus 117 favorites at home, 2.5 favorites on the spread, 222.5 total. Most of the money is going to be on Knicks money line. Most of the money is going to be on Sixers covering the spread. Looking at these two teams, Philly is potentially missing Embiid, Barlow, and Grimes. Paul George still suspended. On the Knicks, Anunoby's potentially missing. Miles McBride is out, and then Mitchell Robinson is questionable. All 3 of these players did sit last night, so they will have some fresh legs if they do end up playing. But overtime loss versus Pacers, going against a much better team in the Sixers. I think Embiid's going to play. Embiid did sit the last game. So I do think Embiid's going to play this one, and I do think Philly wins this game. So Philly for even money, I'm going to run with them. I'm going to run with them just because the Knicks are on a back-to-back at minus 117. Give me the Sixers. Next game, Pistons-Raptors. Raptors plus 113 underdogs at home, 1.5 spread, 225.5 total. Most of the money on Pistons money line. Most of the money going to be on Pistons covering a 1.5 spread at even, or at plus money, actually. Raptors have won two games in a row, beating the Pacers and beating the Bulls. Pistons have won 5 of their last 6. Only losing to Washington, which is a crazy loss. That's the team that beat them. Funny. But they did just beat Charlotte 2 days ago. So this team is coming off of a pretty strong win with the upset against Charlotte. Now, playing in Toronto is it's a tough travel. But I'm looking at Detroit, missing Holland, Tolu Smith out, Isaiah Stewart still out, Toronto, Heckburn out, Colin Murray-Boyles is out this game, and Jakob Poeltl is questionable. So Poeltl may be back tonight. He's been sitting for a while. Obviously, most likely going to be limited. I think the Pistons are the better team. I do like this Raptors lineup when they're healthy. I think that they have potential to beat the Pistons. But when you have the Pistons at even odds, it's hard to not just take them. So I'm probably going to run with Detroit in this one. I don't know for sure. My mind might change on this one. The spread, I don't like playing 1.5 spreads because it's just so like, sometimes I'd rather just run the money line. So personally, at plus 103 versus minus 108, I'd probably just rather run Detroit money line than Detroit minus 1.5. For Toronto, on the other hand, I mean, it's minus 104 versus plus 113. Maybe giving them a 1.5. What are the odds this game lands on a 1-point game? It's probably not going to happen, but it could. It definitely could. But for me, right now, I'm just going to say the Pistons. I'm going to wait for some injury news, see what happens. But yeah, for now, it's going to be the Pistons getting a win here on the road in Toronto. Next game, Rockets Clippers back to back. They played each other last night. We just seen the Clippers cover that 8.5 spread. The spread today is 9.5. Houston is minus 317 favorites at home once again. Now this is a game where the Clippers kept it close. I don't remember if they were down at halftime or if they were up at halftime, but it was a very close game for most of the game, and then the Rockets started to pull away. Now, the Clippers coach is one of those guys who will pull their starters in a close game. If they are down 7 and there's 5 minutes left in the fourth, they get pulled. So they have to be winning to keep their players in. Now, it did look ugly last night, I will say. I think it was a 13-point game when they got pulled, something like that. But they cut the bench cut the lead. I figured they would have at least put Kawhi back in. They didn't. Kawhi pretty much hooked us on his play. He missed by 3. I mean, it's not a hook, but he did lose. He did chalk our points and rebounds. But this game, man, I do think the Clippers keep it close again. Think they keep it close. I think Kawhi has another decent game. I think John Collins has a good game again. John Collins crushed his line last night, so it wasn't even that sweaty at all. He cashed almost in the first half. Potentially, this game could get ugly. I mean, you got minus 300 favorites in the Rockets. I wouldn't hate the Clippers at plus 317. I really wouldn't. That's a pretty strong line for them, and I do think they can cover the 9.5-point spread again if you want to run the spread again. Right now, most of the money we've looked is going to be on the Houston side of things, so we'll see what happens here. This game doesn't have a whole lot of equity in it for me personally, but I do think that the Clippers are good enough to keep this game close, even on a back-to-back. So that's my personal opinion on that game. Pelicans versus Heat. This is a game where I like the Pelicans. Pelicans are minus 104 at home, 1.5-point spread, 231.5 total. Most of the money going to be on Miami covering that 1.5-point spread. I just don't like the 1.5 spreads. I hate that line. When you look at the Pelicans, they've won back-to-back games. They beat Minnesota and they beat Sacramento 2 days ago. The Heat are coming off of a loss versus the Jazz. Heat are missing Hero, missing Larson, missing Norman Powell, missing Rozier, missing Andrew Wiggins, potentially. Pelicans are missing Peavy and DeJounte Murray. Potentially Piva, or Micah, whatever you want to call him, Peavy. But anyways, I do think that this is the game for the Pelicans at home. Give me the Pelicans here. You're going to see me put money on the Pelicans tonight, minus 104 at home. I like this line a lot. So give me the Pelicans. And there's not really much more I need to say about that one. I think they win this game outright. Timberwolves versus Trailblazers. Trailblazers coming off of a big win. Tonight they are in Minnesota. Minnesota minus 213 favorites at home. 5.5-point spread here with a 234.5 total. How many games do we have left? Like 4 more? Sheesh. I feel like I've been talking forever. Yeah, we're like 19 minutes in. But anyways, let's take a look at this game. Most of the money, or it's about a 50-50 split. Most of the money is going to be on Minnesota covering the spread, but the money line is about 50-50. A lot of money on the under 234.5, which I honestly kind of agree with here. Trailblazers have won 3 games in a row. They just beat the brakes off of the Sixers, which I had Sixers money line that day, so that one hurt. Memphis they beat, and then they beat Memphis again. So 2 back-to-back games versus Memphis, and then a game versus Philly where they've looked pretty strong. Looking at the Timberwolves, they just beat Atlanta, blowout win. That one was at home, playing at home again, favored for a reason. Lillard out, obviously out. Chris Murray out. Shaedon Sharpe out. Thibault still out. Minnesota potentially missing Anthony Edwards. Wouldn't surprise me if Ant-Man sat this one. I kind of think he does. It's for illness. I don't know that he plays. If he gets ruled out, Portland's going to be probably favored, to be honest, or it'll be close to even odds. So I think that locking in Portland early is not stupid. This game, fully healthy, I like Minnesota. They're minus 200 favorites for a reason. They are the better team, in my opinion. Avdia played pretty well last game. Avdia is going to be playing tonight. I like that. I like the chances here for Portland to get an upset on the road in Minnesota if Ant-Man sits. So if you think Ant-Man's going to sit, Portland, here you go. I think he does, and I think that this is going to be a good spot to get Portland for plus 217 right now. Next game is going to be the Suns versus the Thunder. Phoenix plus 233 at home. OKC favored without SGA. I don't know, man. I don't know about that one. I know Phoenix is on a back-to-back, which is probably why. 7.5 spread, 216.5 total. I'm with the public on this one. I think Phoenix covers this 7.5 spread. I don't expect a blowout here. Phoenix at home has a 67% win rate, and most of the games they lose aren't by large margins. They did get beat by the Clippers by 24, but that's really the only one that you see large margin losses. Thunder coming off of a win versus the Lakers. Lakers were missing Doncic that game. And I actually played them for half a unit that game as well. But anyways, Thunder 76% win rate, one of the best team in the league when they're healthy. Missing SGA, missing AJ Mitchell, missing Topic. Looking at Phoenix, missing Grayson Allen, Cole Anthony questionable, Isaiah Livers is out. They do have Devin Booker back. Booker played last night, did not play the greatest game. I think he barely cashed a taco. He chalked us by 1 point on our parlay play slip, which sucks. But I do think that Phoenix covers the spread tonight. I don't know about the money line here. I'm kind of leaning OKC, but I think it's a close game. I think it stays competitive in Phoenix. They're just a tough team to beat at home. Next game is going to be the Jazz versus the Kings. This is a spot where I really like that this game, 230.5 total, 74% of the money on the Jazz at minus 190, 50-50 split on the spread on this one. Now, the Kings are missing a lot. Missing DeAndre Hunter, Zach LaVine, Malik Monk, Keegan Murray, Sabonis, Russell Westbrook, Jazz missing Keontae George, Harkless, and Kessler. Looking at this team, they do have Jaren Jackson Jr. now. Jaren Jackson Jr. has played good ball since they've been on for this team. He's played 2 games with them. He's only played 25 minutes in both games, but he dropped 22 points in both games as well with 17 and 19 field goal attempts. So Jaren Jackson Jr. has been balling for this team. I'm expecting him to have a good game versus the Kings tonight. I do like that as a player prop. I would take Markkanen. Markkanen's been playing like 24 minutes per game. Markkanen is limited completely. Don't like that for him. I think this team's trying to tank a little bit, and both these teams pretty much tanking. So it's tough for It's tough for games like this, but in terms of player props, when the players are playing, this game's probably a gold mine because it's going to be fast-paced. Neither of these teams have a very good defense, and I think we can get some value here on some of these player props. So give me Jaren Jackson Jr. here. In terms of picking a winner for this game, I do think the Jazz are the better team with the Kings missing all these players. If the Kings had their starters, I would take the Kings here for sure. But this game, in terms of spread, I don't think I'll touch the spread. So give me the Jazz money line here. I'm probably not going to play it. It's too juiced, but I do think they win the game. Next game, Nuggets versus Memphis. I'm not touching this one. I mean, most of the money's going to be on the Nuggets. Nuggets are minus 600 favorites for a reason. Nuggets have won one of their last 5 games, looking pretty weak as of lately. Just got beat by the Cavs in a very, very close game. Grizzlies have lost 3 in a row, one of the worst teams in the league. They're missing Brandon Clark. They're missing Aldama. Clayton's doubtful. Coward's doubtful. Zach Edey's out. John Morant's out. Denver has a potential or probable Christian Brown, probable Jokic. Spencer Jones questionable, probable Jamal Murray. So give me the Nuggets here. I don't think they lose at home versus this Grizzlies team, but I've seen worse losses. Last game on the slate is going to be the Warriors versus the Spurs. Looking at this team, you got majority of the money and majority of the bets on the Spurs money line. And same thing for Spurs covering a 7.5 point spread. Now, the Spurs haven't played they played last night, actually. They played against the Lakers last night, beat them 136-108, blowout victory. Wembanyama had like 25 points in 7 minutes. Dude looked phenomenal last night. What did he end with? 40 points? What was his PRA? 54 PRA last night, and that was in how many minutes? 26 minutes. That is absolutely absurd. Bro looked like a monster last night. Looking at this team, let's go back. Castle questionable. Garcia's out. Lindy Waters questionable. Golden State missing Butler, Cryer, Curry, both Currys. Melton's questionable. Porzingis is out, and Will Richard is out. So there's not any reason to take Golden State here, in my opinion. Even on a back-to-back, the Spurs are the better team. There's not. They're definitely, any team's a live dog right now, but they're not live dogs enough for me to want to take them. So give me the Spurs. I honestly like the Spurs covering a 7.5 point spread, to be honest with you, but that's a little bit tougher. If I was going to play like a parlay, you could take like the Spurs with the Jazz or something like that. Spurs with Timberwolves if Ant-Man plays, or any strong favorite you could play with the Spurs and probably get decent odds. But I mean, that's if you wanted to risk it on a team on a back-to-back. But I do like the Spurs in this matchup and think they win the game pretty easily. Next game, or no more games actually. Let's jump into some player props, guys. So before we jump into these player props, before I show you the 2 slips I've locked in live, and I will go ahead and show you the bet tracker or show you the track to picks right now. We're going to refresh. You can see we have $500 entered to win 1,040. So we have two $250 slips already locked in. I locked these in a little bit earlier before the video for the Discord, just because I didn't want the value to change. But let's take a look at the first slip of the day. So the first slip of the day that we have is going to be Brandon Ingram and Jaren Jackson Jr. Brandon Ingram is a boosted play on Parlay Play. And I do want to say, guys, if you sign up for Parlay Play right now using code Fantasy Aces, they will give you $5 for free. No brainer to just sign up. Even if you don't deposit, why wouldn't you sign up and take the $5? You get a deposit match up to $100 and our VIP for free for a month. So no brainer. We'd love to have you guys in there. Ingram and Jaren Jackson is going to be the first slip of the day. So let's pull up Brandon Ingram. Ingram obviously just got, or I don't know if it's obvious, but Ingram just got added to the All-Star game. He's going to be taking over for Curry. I don't know if that's going to hurt his minutes tonight or not, or if it's going to light a fire under him, but he has been dominant as of lately, scoring 23 points per game on average over his last 10. He's cashed his line 75% of the games on the season, 39 of 52, averaging 22 points per game. No head-to-head data versus Detroit. This is a tough matchup. He is going against a team that does not give up very many points, one of the better defenses in the league. He's going to have a tough matchup tonight. He could potentially have... Well, Alster is probably, I don't know who Alster is going to be guarding, to be honest with you. But regardless, it's going to be a tough matchup for Ingram. Now, I like Ingram for 18 points. 18 points is not that many. His line is sitting at like 20.5 for a reason. Give me Brandon Ingram tonight for 17.5 points. I've already locked it in. You guys can lock it in if you want. You can fade it if you want. You can see who I paired it with. I paired it with Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren Jackson Jr. is a guy who I've never loved to bet on, but he's just been killing it lately, man. 14.5 points. He's cashed 10 straight games. He's averaging 22 points over his last 10, 17.6 field goal attempts. He had 17 and 19 in his first two starts with the Jazz, and he's only playing 25 minutes per game. So maybe he gets bigger minutes coming up soon. We'll see. Going against one of the worst defenses in the league. If you got a power forward and center position, they give up 23 points per game to both positions. So it's just a great matchup overall for Jaren Jackson Jr. I think this game stays pretty competitive. I'm going to be honest with you. Head-to-head versus the Jazz, versus the Kings, he doesn't have a decent history in terms of his last couple of games, but the first couple of games from last season, he dominated. So we'll see what happens this game. I do think Jaren Jackson Jr. gives us 15 points. I think that line's low, and that's why I locked it in. So that's going to be slip number 1, 250 to profit $197. Next game on the slip, or next slip that I locked in was our man John Collins. Once again, locked him in for 19.5 points and rebounds. This is a line he crushed last night. He's stepping it up ever since they, or lately he stepped up in general, but there's no Harden either. You got to remember, they traded Harden and Zubac. They need somebody down in the paint. They need somebody to get the boards. They need somebody to help score with Kawhi, and he's been doing that. 17 points last night versus the Rockets, 8 rebounds. Game before that, 15 points, 22 points, 19, 15, 16, 18. He's averaging around 11 field goals per game. Had 14 last night. Almost cashed this line in the first half alone. So it's a good matchup for him in terms of he's going to be needed. And I do think he has a good game tonight once again versus Houston. Head-to-head data, he's cashed one of his last 3. The last game back on December 23rd, he ended up chalking with 18 points and rebounds. So he doesn't get a whole lot of assists. Yesterday they had a messed up line where they had him where his assist line and PRA and PR was the same line. I showed you guys in the video, but I do think that he still gets just PR as well because he only had 1 assist last night and he crushed that line. So give me John Collins for 19.5 points and rebounds. Then I paired him with Avdia. Avdia is a boost on Parlay Play, another boosted play that you can get. One thing about Parlay Play, they do give a lot of promos. Some of the promos suck. Some of them are good. These are the promos I haven't even locked in yet. 5 more, and the 2 that I did lock in aren't even on the board. So Brandon Ingram and Avdia are both going to be Parlay Play boost. Now Avdia, 29.5 PRA. This is a tough matchup. Like I said, if Ant-Man gets ruled out, I think Portland can win this game. I think you get good value. His line is 34.5 for a reason. You're getting good value at 29.5. He's cashed 87% of games on the season. Head-to-head, he's been under every game versus Minnesota, which doesn't look great. Looking at his minutes, only one of these games where he had big minutes, he had 28, so he pretty much hooked that line. So right now, he's playing around 20. He played 26.6 minutes 2 days ago, to 28.4 the game before that, but that was a blowout win too. So he should get 28-ish minutes. At 28 minutes, I'm not afraid to take Avdia for 30 PRA. He's going to be the guy he's going to be the go-to guy. He's averaging 17 field goal attempts. He's been facilitating. He's been looking great, man. So give me Avdia for 29.5 PRA. Not much needs to be said. So those are the 2 slips we locked in. Ingram with Jaren Jackson Jr., Collins with Avdia. Lock them in if you like them. Fade them if you don't. You can put them on the same slip if you want. You don't have to. I do want to say, guys, if you want free VIP, you can sign up for any partner app in the description, not just Parlay Play. We'd love to have you guys a part of it. Go follow the Instagram if you haven't already, and I'll see y'all in tomorrow's video.